I'm going to show you a brand new item duplication exploit in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So this one's for version 1.2.0, the newest version of the game. And if you're on a previous version, you're probably not going to want to update because this is not going to be as fast as the old versions. But if you got forced into updating, well, this is what you're going to have to do now in order to duplicate items. So if you're on a previous version, don't update, and you'll see why. But also, if you're curious, you can learn how this is going to work. So you're going to open up the map. You're going to go to the Great Sky Island. You can do this in a lot of different places. You'll understand the concept after I show you. But one of the most convenient places to do this is at a device dispenser right here in the sky. So just go to the Nachiya Shrine, ascend through the sky, through the ceiling, and then jump off and dive down to this device dispenser. So by this device dispenser, you'll see these wooden boards over here. I'm going to use Ultra Hand on the big one. Take the big one out like this. Then you're going to take this small one, and you're going to put it at a 90-degree angle on one of the joints right here towards the end. So you'll see those like two little things I'm standing on. Put on one of those straight up like that. Then what you're going to do is rotate it around like this, and then put it over here somewhere near the front of the device dispenser. So something like this. Okay, so now we're ready to duplicate the items. So we can only duplicate items up to 20 because we have to throw an item. So we're going to go up here and throw our weapon, hold up on the D-pad to see our materials. Now, we can only duplicate an item if we only have one left of the item, like this hydro melon. So bananas, we have to drop 22 of them in order to be able to dupe them, which would diminish the point. Now, because of that, we can only have 20 at a time. We can only do 20 at a time because we can only 20 on the ground before they despawn. There's an item limit on the ground of 21. So that'll limit us to only be able to dupe up to 21. But we have a way to circumvent that with another glitch, which we will get to. There's also items like fire fruit. You cannot duplicate items that explode when you throw them. You can only duplicate items that don't. So ideally, you're going to want to dupe things like high fuse power weapons. So if we go high fuse attack power. So I don't really have any that I only have one of. Actually, I can just take one of these like this, the silver bokoblin horn. Okay, now I have one of. So I'm ready to duplicate. So we're going to go to throw. We're going to take our silver bokoblin horn. And this is where it's going to get kind of weird. Generally, the way I do this for me is I hold my two Switch controllers together, and I have the thumb for my right hand on the up button to open up this, and then I use my left thumb to move up, since they're both like right next to each other. That's the only way I can do it. So move up with my left thumb, and then up on the D-pad with my right thumb. You want to open that menu while falling, and you can't jump off. You have to fall off this ledge. So we're going to go up, we're going to fall off, and then hold up. Like that. Now, what I do is, while holding up with my right thumb, I reach over to the other controller with my left thumb, and to press X to drop. And that will make it drop one on the ground like that. Okay, so now if you want to speed this up, the best way to do this here is we have to throw this item now in order to do it. We have to reset our inventory. So we throw this item, and we go to take it again. Now when we do this, it will move it to the bottom of our inventory. So instead of reorganizing our inventory every time, which depending on the item that can work, because fuse items, I could just organize by fuse power and then move over a little bit. But what will be the absolute fastest now is to just scroll all the way to the right until you hit your Zonai devices, because Zonai devices are always going to be on the right by default. But when you put an item in your inventory for the first time, when you only have one of you had none and now you have one, it'll put it at the very end of your inventory, which will be right here. So if you do it like that, once you get into this position after you've thrown it one time, you pick it back up and now it's in this last slot. Now what you can do is we can go to do this again, and we can, so I have to hold my controls in front of my face in order to be able to actually see what I'm doing. We can do that, throw it, pick it up, go back around, and now when we go to do this, we're still right next to that last slot, and we can kind of just do it like this, and that'll make it way faster. So if you're going to duplicate, you're going to want to do it like that. So now we can do that. We can duplicate until we have, safely, you'd only want to do about 10 to 15 at a time, because it'll start despawning things you're working with. It could, well, I don't know if it'll despawn these boards or not, but it can despawn things. But either way, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate these until we have like 10 on the ground. Okay, so that actually wasn't that slow. I mean, once we get, pampered with the old previous versions, obviously it feels slow, but that really only took me like a minute or two to get this many, which isn't too bad. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do an exploit with this Zonai device dispenser. Now the easiest way to do this is with fans, which conveniently enough, this device dispenser drops fans. So if you need to, just go ahead and put some Zonai charges in there, which I'm not even going to scroll to them. Put Zonai charges in there in order to use it. But what we don't need to do that in my case, because I already have some fans. So we're going to go to our Zonai devices, and we're going to take out 2 fans. Now, we're going to take these fans, and we're going to turn one like this. We're going to connect it at a 90-degree angle like this. And then we're going to take this for now, and we're just going to set it over here to the side, just near that thing that opens up right there. And then we're going to throw in anything in here. I'm just going to throw in a piece of zonite, but you can throw in a diamond. You can throw in anything you want. You can throw in any item, and then you're just going to skip this. It'll spit it back out. But because this fan is near the opening, it won't close because it thinks there's still something that needs to fall out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this fan, and we're going to Alt hand. We're going to jam it up into here, and then we're going to hold R and press down on the D-pad, which will jam it way up in there like that. And if you want to go harder, you can jam it up even further than that into there by doing that a second time. But that's fine right there. So now what we can do is there's an exploit that people have found with this one, which lets us store an unlimited number of items in the device dispenser by putting in these items. So now what we can do is we can duplicate past 20 because of this. So we can take these silver bokoblin horns. And so now that we have these silver bokoblin horns, we have 12 of them. So now that duplication thing won't work. I'd have to throw all of these on the ground until I have 1 left. So we can't go past 20, right? Well, now what we can do is we can open up our inventory and we can hold 5 of these at a time. And we can put them inside of this and then skip the cutscene. And now they'll just go up in there. So I'm going to put in 2 batches of these real fast. And also, I might want to spin that fan again because it looks like it might be nudging it every time. Let's see if the second time nudges it. Maybe not. I think we're good. Okay. No, it is nudging it. So it probably would be smart to jam that thing up there. It might be too late to do it. Let's see if we can do it retroactively. All right. There we go. We got jammed up in there. So you can kind of see the bokoblin horns between the spokes up in there. You can see they're actually up in there. But when they're like that, it doesn't count towards the item limit. So you could have 1 trillion of them in there, and the game would just let them exist. So thanks to that, now what we can do is we can duplicate these past 20 and then get them later. Although to be careful not to throw them all away. But okay, I'm going to put that on the ground. Now I have 1 again. And now I can go up here and I can start duplicating again, just like before. So fall off, drop it. And then throw 1 on the ground, pick 1 up, and then go around, and then do this again and again and again. So 1 more time. There we go. And then drop it. And then throw. And just repeat. And I can do this again in order to get, like, another, say, 10, maybe 15 of these on the ground. And then stuff them into the Zonai device dispenser over and over again until there's, like, 50 or 100 up in there. All right, so I put about 50 of these. I duped 50 and put 50 in. And I don't really know what happened, but my fan exploded. So one of the pieces fell off, and the other one's jammed up in there still, which is not what you'll want to have happen. This might complicate things. So normally what you would do is you would go to the right side here. Normally, during the day, there's that construct guy standing here. So that's why you want to go over here on the right side, so you don't have to talk to him while trying to pick these things up. But a different zone of device dispenser might be different. And normally what you do is hold L, and you'll use recall on this thing, which I don't know if it'll work as 1. Well, either way, what normally happens here is you'll rewind this, and it'll pull itself out of this place. It'll dislodge itself. And once that happens, the items will start to fall. But what you need to do is you need to pick those items up as fast as you can, because once they start falling out, that item limit of 20 will apply to them. So if you don't pick them up fast enough, they'll start despawning because only 20 of them can exist at a time. So get ready to pick them up as fast as you can. Now we're going to see if this thing will rewind out of here. It might not because it fell apart. If it did fall apart, well, then we can try to do this an improvised way. All right, so it looks like we're going to do this improvised way. All right, so we're going to have to take this and see if we can get a view on this thing. I don't know how I just got the other view of it. Get down here, maybe. Oh, this is... Okay, you know what we can do? We can take this and we can reattach. There we go. All right, now let's try to pull that thing out of there. Press down on the D-pad. All right, once I pull this out, the items are going to start to fall. So we'll see if I don't mess this up. So we can get this in here. We're still good. I'm going to let go. Okay, we're still good. We're going to pull this out. This is the worst case scenario of how this goes. I'm going to try to yank this out if we can. And then go up here and spam. Oh, okay. Well, they're still blocking themselves from falling. There we go. And press A as fast as you can. Okay. Well, that was an awful improvised way to do it. Normally, you'd be able to recall that thing, but for some reason, it can explode. But either way, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I just duplicated the items and it was fine. So I went from having 1 silver bokoblin horn to 63 silver bokoblin horns. It only took me like 10 minutes or something. You know, it's not so bad. But that's it, guys. That is how to duplicate items past 20 and how to duplicate them in general in the newest version of Tears of the Kingdom, since they fixed all the exploits in 1.2, all the previous ones, the load trigger duping and all those things. And now I know before you go in there and comment and you're like, well, this is way slower than Tobio's Chasm, why would you update? Some people have the updated version. Or if someone literally buys the game today for the first time, they're going to be forced to play on this version. So anyone who ends up on 1.2 one way or another, this is what you got to do. Now, if you're not on 1.2, you're going to want to go to your settings on your Nintendo Switch, and you're going to want to disable Wi-Fi. You're going to want to delete your password from your Wi-Fi on the Switch so it won't know how to connect until you're done playing Tears of the Kingdom, and then turn it back on for other games or whatever. So basically just don't update unless you have to for some reason. But yeah, if you did update, this is going to be it, guys, for now at least. If there's a better one, I'll let you know. But as of right now, this is the best way to duplicate most materials in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom version 1.2.0.